Hey, party people, welcome to yet another edition of DJ to DJ. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. This is where we talk to amazingly talented DJs from across the nation, and they give you insights as to how they got started and what it took to where they are today. And as always, I got a great talent by my side right here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Brian Scott Red. How you doing, brother?
Hiya. How you doing?
We're
You're
doing
looking for
good.
highly talented guys. You blew it. You got the wrong guy today.
No, my friend, you got talent because of everything that you do, man. That takes talent, man. You can't just be on a microphone and not have talent, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not afraid of people. That probably helps.
That's good. That's good. So let's get right into it, man. And as always, the first question is, how did you discover DJing? Why did you get into it? And how'd you learn to beat mix?
Well, the DJ thing goes probably way back to just an aptitude that I think I always kind of had, but I fought it. I didn't want to do it. That's not really what I wanted to do. I liked DJing, but that wasn't my thing. I wanted to play guitar. And the way I really got started DJing, well, first of all, I knew my music. I mean, that was something that I feel like is the first step. Know your tunes. Not only just your favorite song, but somebody else's favorite song too.
Right.
Not just your genre, other genres. So I used to roller skate a lot when I was a kid. And the owner of the skating rink and I used to hang out at the skate rental counter, and I would help her pick out records from the Columbia House catalog. It's like I kind of knew what the good ones were. It's like, oh no, get this one because it's got a lot of hits on it. No, don't get that one. That's only got one song on it.
Right.
So get the almost bang for the buck kind of thing.
Right.
And I was in line one day after school to go skating, and she came out and she said, Brian, the DJ isn't coming. Can you do it? I'm like, I don't know how to do it. So, well, my daughter will show you the booth. Just go up there and do it. You can skate for free. We'll pay you minimum wage if you promise to clean the bathrooms afterward. Oh, okay. So this 10-year-old girl takes me into the booth and says, okay, this is a mixing board. This is a crossfader. Here are the turntables. These switches work the lights. Here are the records. Have at it. So the first track I dropped was Joe Walsh's The Confessor, of all things, because it was right there. And I was 13 years old at the time.
Wow.
And it's just been going ever since.
Nonstop.
What's cool about it is, when I think about it, I've never had to ask someone to DJ. Someone has always come to me. So that is, I guess, something that I'm pretty proud of. People actually like what I do. I'm not begging them to do things. They're asking me to do things. So I've never had to look for a DJ job. That's nice.
That's very cool, man. That's very cool. So did you start playing guitar prior to DJing, or were you messing around with it?
Yeah. Oh, well, guitar was a thing, and then I wanted to be John Taylor from Duran Duran, but yeah, no one ever asked me to play guitar with them, but everybody always asked me to DJ. So, after a while, you're just kind of like, okay, I guess this is what I am, and you do it, and then I started embracing it. Probably by the time I was doing clubs in my 20s, that's when I really started to embrace it. I resented it for a while. It really wasn't what I wanted back then.
Right.
I did it, it was fine, but by the time I was doing clubs, oh boy, I was doing clubs like at 18, and it was cool then. But by the time I was in my 20s and doing them, I really just said, you know what, this is just who I am. This is what I'm going to do. This is my thing. This is my calling, and do what you're good at, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that's what I did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So at what point do you start transitioning from nightclubs to doing the mobile stuff?
It actually, boy, first it was skating rinks, and then it was mobile stuff. And then it was skating, then it was clubs. I got my first mobile gig. I was asked to work for a multi-app when I was 17, and I started doing that, and as an assistant for a good year, not because I couldn't have done it, but because I just didn't have the confidence to do it on my own. I was worried that I wasn't good enough for somebody's wedding, It's like, man, what if I screw it up? And there was an office girl named Kristen who was really cool. She used to progressively put me with worse and worse DJs every time to be an assistant for, where I would have to pick it up for them. I ended up with a guy named Wally who was like a welder, and nothing against welders. My son-in-law's a welder, but he had like sucked in too many weld fumes, I think, and he just didn't get it. So I wasn't really the assistant. He was more the assistant. And then one day they said, "Well, you're going to go out and do this gig on your own." I'm like, "I can't do this. Like, you've been doing it for the last 3 months with Wally. Just go do it." So I didn't have the confidence for it. I really wanted to be the best,
Right.
And I guess I did okay. And then from there was the multi-app actually landed a residency in a Holiday Inn executive suite. There was a bar there, and they wanted a DJ, I think 5 or 6 nights a week. And they said, "Well, you're the guy for it." I said, "Well, I'm not old enough to work in there." It's like, "Don't worry about it, just go." So, "Well, what do I say if they ask me how old I am?" "Just tell them you're old enough and leave it at that. It's not a lie. Just tell them you're going to be fine." So I started working there, and then other things popped up. New Year's gigs would pop up at bars and clubs where they didn't always have a DJ going and do it. And by the time I was 21, I was at a club downtown. Like, and that's a big deal here. I'm in Milwaukee. Downtown is like the place you want to be the DJ. So when I was 21, again, by accident, I ended up at a club downtown. I did a residency there for 7 years.
Wow, that's cool.
Until my daughter was born, I worked down there.
Very cool, very cool.
I just left because of family reasons. At the time, I'm trying to wrap my head around, how can you possibly be a club DJ and a dad at the same time? But, you get over that.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. My kid's married now and out of the house.
There you go. So what was your how did you come across your first set? Your first set of turntables, your mixer? What was like, for example, my dad made me go to work. He said, I asked my dad, can I get a set of turntables? Nah, man, you go work for them. And I went and started delivering furniture on Saturdays. So how did you come about your first setup?
I didn't have any gear for a long time. The first gear that I bought was when I was probably, well, okay. So when I started the mobile company, like, my mother encouraged me to do it. I didn't want to do it. She's like, "You need to do it. Everybody keeps calling you and asking to do this. You need to do it." So she gave me a line of credit of $2,000 on her credit card and said, "Just do this."
Nice.
Oh my God, how am I going to pay back $2,000? So, here I'm used to making $50-$60 a night in a club,
Right.
And yeah, I had it paid off with security deposits within 3 weeks. It was crazy.
That's wild.
I guess my first set of DACs, if that's what you're asking me about.
Yeah.
When I was working at that Best Western, there was a group of people that I knew at clubs, and they had this one guy. I remember his name was Victor, and Victor was a turntablist. This guy was amazing, and he had, I don't even know what they were. I'm thinking back, really cheap plastic decks, and they were mismatched. And on one of them, the pitch didn't work right. And it ran a little fast, and you had to really ride the pitch if you wanted to keep anything consistent on the thing. And yeah, he was amazing. He had all kinds of records, and he taught me how to beat juggle and phase and things. And I remember he ended up getting some cash and bought, I don't know if they were Gemini or what they were. There were some 1,200 knockoffs that he bought, like a pair. And he just took off on those things like crazy. And I made a deal with him. It's a long story, but I made a deal with him to get his old decks. Those are my first decks.
Wow.
And then I went to a pawn shop and bought that Radio Shack realistic mixing board.
Yeah.
Remember that one that everybody had?
That's
like
exactly the one I got.
Yeah. I bought that, hooked that up, and I bought 2 copies of Delight Groove Is in the Heart with the flip side of What Is Love.
Yep.
And that's what I worked on.
That is funny.
I also had Sybil, Don't Make Me Over. I think I had Salt and Pepper, Express Yourself, Heavy D and the Boys, Now That We Found Love. I had a collection of songs from the time that I worked on, and I just tried to find every single combination that I could find with those tracks. That's just to learn how to hook those beats up.
That's crazy.
Then go back to the mobile days. We had the crappy realistic turntables too, with belt drives.
That's what I had.
And you'd have to bring them back like 2.5 times to cue. Cueberg was terrible on him. You let him go and trying to get the speed. So if you could hit the beat like just on the one, you would high five the guy next to you because it was amazing that you could do that.
It was challenging, man. I remember those things. That's exactly. I would work Saturdays. This little furniture store down the street from a Radio Shack, and every Saturday I'd go put a little bit of money. I started off with my mixer, a little realistic mixer. Got my realistic turntable. Got another realistic turntable, and then my go-to song was "Spin It." So I got 2 copies of "Spin It" because of the way the beat was. I had that little, right. And so that's how I learned to beat mix, by matching those 2 songs. And then I tried another one. But then it's when Transx Living on Video comes out with that beginning with no beat that threw me off. I was like, what the heck? And then that's when I had to learn rhythm and, as opposed to, just finding the beat. It was hilarious, man.
Right.
So you have a huge collection of music. I mean, and the what I like about you is the knowledge that you have of music, because I see your videos and you're always talking about stuff, and you're talking about B-sides and this and that. How long was it before when you started collecting, and what have you gotten up to now?
Numbers, I have no idea, but I do know that I've allocated a space in my home, and if it goes beyond that, I can't have anymore, because otherwise it just gets stupid,
Right.
But I mean, you sound a lot like me. It sounds like we grew up a lot of the same way, where our parents just didn't throw money at us for stuff.
Yep.
So you went without.
Exactly.
And you had to figure out a way. If something broke, you better figure out how to fix it, or you're not getting another one.
Exactly.
So I didn't always have a lot of money for records. And usually when I was gigging, I mean, all the money that I made would go back into music. And I was told what a stupid investment that was at the time. But in retrospect, Mom apologizes because it was the way to go. So I had like my tracks, and it was a solid crate. But then there was that time when everybody went CD.
Yeah.
And they were purging all their stuff to the thrift stores, to the half price bookstores. I was going in there and I was buying stuff for nothing. In fact, I did a video last night with 80s Alternative. And I've got I show a copy of New Order Substance 1987, which I had at the club. The club owned it. I didn't own it. So I played it a lot. But I found my own copy of that in like brand new for 25 cents.
Wow.
I mean, that's what stuff was for a minute. So I was working for Motorola Cellular Infrastructure Group when they were first building the what became Verizon. Like eventually, it was Primeco way back.
Okay.
And we would drive around like cities and just test cell signals all day. So I had it in my head where all of the discount record stores and half price bookstores were, where I could take my lunch. So every day I'd hit a different spot, and I would come home with grocery sacks full of records for like $5.
Wow.
And I would just cherry pick it, and I could. Wow. And even stuff that like, oh, what is this? Well, you know what? For $0.25, it's worth finding out. So I'd pick it up.
Right.
But most of the time I knew exactly what I was looking at. It was stuff that I'd seen in club crates that the club owned or other DJs owned. And I just was so happy to have a physical copy of it for myself. So that's how the collection started, like getting big,
Right.
Was the because I'm kind of a cheap guy at the end of the day. Yeah.
Now, the first time that I started coming about your videos was my first year at Mobile Beat. Prior to that, I started, just kind of looking at all the speakers that were there, and somehow, some way, you weren't speaking, but I came across your profile, and then I just clicked on the link, and it went to your YouTube page, and I start seeing this flurry of stuff. And from that point on, when I needed a question answered, I just go look it up on YouTube, and you would pop up. It's like if I was considering buying a certain type of speaker, here's Brian giving some feedback on the do's and don'ts of this speaker, on this microphone, everything. So at what point do you say, okay, I've done the mobile thing, I've done the nightclub thing, let me pop on YouTube and start creating videos? How does that come about?
Okay, so this is how I remember it. I wanted to watch a Daft Punk music video for, I don't remember what it was. It was something like Digital Love. And at the time, in like 2006 or whatever it was, you had to start a YouTube account to even look at a YouTube video.
Right.
Like, what the hell is this thing? So, fine, I made an account. Brian Esred, that's my name. I just made the account. And I watched the video, and I'm like, well, I wonder if there's anything on here for DJs specifically. And so I searched it, and for a while, nothing popped up. And I kept trying it, because it looked like the site was growing. And by maybe October, Jonathan the DJ Tutor popped up with his turntable videos. I'm like, oh, well, this is interesting. This guy, who at the time was a different guy. I mean, he was very humble. He was just showing what he knew. The early videos that guy did were just gold. So I was watching his stuff, and I was learning a lot, and it was cool to be able to, see somebody else, interested in what I was interested in, because I don't know how it is where you live, but where I live, it's really hard to find somebody who's I guess in sync with what you're feeling with this whole thing. Motivations are the same with music and
right,
all that stuff. And nobody else is doing anything. I thought, well, I wonder if I did a video of something, I wonder if he would see it. Just give him something to look at. So I did this terrible little 30-second video, and he saw it. And he contacted me and said we should team up and do this stuff. It's like, well, I have things that I think I have to offer, because I've looked in the forums and people talk about gear all the time.
Right.
But what they don't do is talk about music. They don't talk about performance. They don't talk about troubleshooting. There's a lot of things that they're not talking about, just performance stuff that I think I could bring to the table. And it would be cool, thinking about it. Maybe there's somebody in the middle of, I don't know, Vermont or something, who's driving home from a gig, and, what are they going to do? Tell their wife how the gig went? Wife doesn't care.
Right.
Maybe it would be cool if this person could go home, log on to YouTube, and see that, I was out doing an event this, tonight too, and this is what I ran into, and this is what I played, and this is how I felt about it, and this is what my beat up truck looks like that I haul my gear around in. Maybe that would be a nice thing for somebody to see, like an empathy thing.
Right.
So,
right.
So yeah, it turns out that worked out. And in the initial, I guess, thing that we thought we were going to do was, and we did it for a hot minute, we did it. We thought what we would be doing is creating a community. It wasn't about, hey, look at me. It was about, hey, come join the community, do your own videos. We'll watch you, you watch us. Let's share some ideas. And for the first year, that's what happened. A lot of people came on board from the West Coast, from the East Coast, from Europe, from all over the place. And then it got weird, because people were really starting to get hung up on views and stuff. It's like, well, I'm not doing this anymore because I'm not getting views. I'm like, what do you mean? I watched your video. And then I started to notice that I was getting views. Like, why are they watching me? Okay, I guess this is just what we do now. So I just started doing it, and I initially did it when I was, they used to do the video reply thing. Remember that?
Yeah.
At all? That was nice. If somebody did a video and said, hey, look, I'm having a problem with this piece of gear. I'm having a problem with this, whatever. Can someone help me out? And then you could do a video reply to them. Hey, this is for John. You were having a hard time with this board. Let me show you how to do that. That was a really cool community thing that we were doing for that first year. And I miss it. That was really nice. But it did turn into something else. And then
I got to tell you, man, I mean, there's so many DJs here in Los Angeles that it's funny, because like sometimes I'll ask, hey, has anybody come across this or that or whatever? And then 9 times out of 10, have you check out Brian's YouTube? They constantly go. Honestly, I was, when I started mobiling, because I started at the age of 9 messing around with turntables. It wasn't until 15 that I started mobiling. Then I got into radio, got behind the scenes of radio. I was on air, and then I did marketing promotions. Then I kind of hit a wall, and decided that I wanted to go back to mobiling and doing my stuff. I opened up my company and it started off really good. I got landed some big accounts. So then I started saying, well, I got to start learning all this new equipment and stuff. And I get my first set of uplights. And I get my first gig where they wanted a certain setup and they wanted the colors to do this and to do that. And so I start, figuring out, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I needed to learn DMX. And I started looking it up, and this was when I came across your video where you started talking about how to set it all up. And boom, I might have seen maybe about 8 or 9 videos prior to getting to yours, and I was trying each and every video, and I couldn't get it. But when I got to yours, nailed it on the first try. And it was like simple stuff that you made it easier. Some other people, they get a little too complicated. Some of them, I didn't even get to the first couple minutes because they were yapping and yapping. I'm like, just get to the damn point. You know what I mean? It's like, tell me what I want to know. Yeah. You know? It's like, and you have a way of bringing people in, and then you just get right to it, and step by step by step, and it's just easy to go, man. And that's what I love about your videos, man.
The thing that I think that I wish I heard more DJs talk about, and they don't, just in general, is empathy. And some people, and it's okay if you don't know what that is, because some people, not that you would know, but some people get it confused with other things. Empathy is almost that whole thing where it's like, put yourself in my place.
Right.
Or let me put myself in your place. That is, I think, one of the most powerful tools that we can use as a DJ, where, this about read the crowd. What the hell does that mean? No, you have empathy for the crowd. Play to them. Look at somebody and say, I wonder what they're like, and make some generalizations about them. Maybe they work here. Maybe they have kids. Maybe, they have a motorcycle. What would they like to hear? And play that song. That's empathy. How would it make them feel? What would blow their mind right now? I try to do that with the videos too, because I know that I'm not a technical guy. I'm not that dude. I'm just a guy. And I know that I struggled in school with things because the teacher explained things that every other kid understood, but I didn't.
That was me.
So I'm like, okay, maybe if I approach the videos in that fashion, that would resonate with DJs, because maybe this DJ thing attracts a certain personality type. And maybe people like me who had a hard time figuring out what the teacher was talking about. Not stupid, just that didn't work. That explanation worked for, 27 kids, but the 28th kid was lost. And that was always me. So I try to think, if I were that teacher, how would I have explained it to me looking back, And that's how I try to approach the videos. I was like, what's that little thing I could talk about that, let's keep it simple. Let's look at the essence of this. We don't have to dig deep into it. We don't have to know how to build the thing. We just have to know how it works and how to get it to work and how to get it by. That's all we really need.
The other thing that you're really good at also is, because it's not just the technical aspect of things, and it's not just the equipment, but you also talk about the business. You've had videos where you talk about how to better monetize your stuff. When I first got started with my company, one of the biggest videos that I think inspired me most from you was, how do I price my stuff out, And it's like, how do I, okay, I'm bringing all this equipment. What's the what is the right price to charge? And I was just like, and when I first got started, I was just throwing a number out. That sounds cool. But you put it into perspective in a business aspect, but very easy to follow.
Yeah. I mean, life's like that. I mean, anything in life is like that. People tend to make things more complicated than they need to be.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just look at the facts, and without getting too crazy about it. This is how much stuff costs. Okay. This is what I paid for it. Now, how do I make my money back from that? Well, let's do a percentage of that, and let's figure out all our other expenses and pay ourselves something at the end of the day. And then we got a business. We're not just hobby guys. We don't look stupid, and we're not charging an amount that's unreasonable, At least get your money back from your stuff. It's pretty simple stuff. And the truth is, I didn't come up with a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff was stuff that was presented to me. And some of it I pushed back on. I'm like, I don't know about that. But then I processed it. I took my time and I thought, well, how could I present this? And then I present things. So, I mean, there are a lot of great people out there from all over the world who have reached out to me with ideas and given me some real inspiration for the videos that you see. So, sometimes I'm rewording things a lot, but it's the essence of what I'm learning from all of you too, that I'm
Yeah.
sharing.
Well, I think that the other thing is you're just a humble guy. When the very first time that I reached out to you with a question, I said he's probably got like 50,000 people reaching out every day asking him questions and stuff like that. The odds of getting an answer is slim to none. I thought within like 2.5 hours you responded, and I was like, cool. And you were just simple thing. Check this out. You sent me a link and stuff. And then when I met you at Mobile Beat, just down to earth guy, man. And I've come across some people that I've seen on YouTube and a little on
Not
the
the same
arrogant
guy in
side, one
person.
picture type of thing. And I mean, no names, but we know who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know.
So it's like, and that's what I like about you because you're just down to earth. And let's shift gears here a little bit because for
Sure.
me, you are a huge inspiration. I've run across a lot of DJs that bitch and complain about hauling equipment and this and that and my back and blah 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 blah. Now, some time ago, you were dealt with a pretty big blow that
Mm,
probably most of us wouldn't have come out of.
you don't know
But
that. You don't know that.
yeah, some people maybe, some people
In
yes,
theory, everyone says I could never do this.
right,
But when it's right in front of you, what choice do you have?
yeah,
It's a sink or swim thing.
yeah. So you how old are you when you had the stroke?
I was a month away from my 40th birthday.
Ah, very young.
Yeah.
And
And that was almost 10 years ago. So,
wow,
yeah.
wow. So you
It'll
and I
be
are
10
just
years ago in April.
we're about the same age. So to me, it's like I bitch and complain about my backaches and stuff like that, but nonetheless, you forged ahead and you do your thing. Um, Having a little bit of a handicap to me is I don't see you as a person that has a handicap. I feel that you are a true inspiration because no matter what, you keep forging ahead. And
It's like
and
DJing. I
yeah,
mean, if you think about it, because think about what the public's perspective is of what we do. Oh, that's easy. They just play music. Well, it's a lot more than that. There's so much more involved. You just don't see it.
right.
So, I appreciate your compliment on that. About not seeing me as a disabled person. I really don't see myself as a disabled person, but it's true. I am. I'm just really good at it. That's the truth. It's
That's the
it's not
beautiful
easy being
attitude,
me,
man. I
man.
love that.
It's not easy being me, but you know what? I just got good at it, and I
Yeah.
just it's just like DJing. My gosh, I think about my mother was, and my mom and I are super close, very close.
Good for
She
you.
was just saying how because I was right-handed before my stroke,
Hmm.
I lost my right hand, but I'm able to do anything but write. I can't write at all.
Wow.
I don't write anymore. I just said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm dyslexic anyway. I had to relearn it now. No, we're not doing it. So, but I could do. I'm working on that Mustang, and I'm working on the house. I help her with things. This is amazing. How much you can do with that left hand.
Yeah.
And I said, why? Because I was beat juggling for so long. You have to do it that way. You learn to make that left hand do what the right hand does.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. You just do it. So, I mean, really, that was training for what I got dealt. It wasn't like I had to learn how to use the left hand. I always knew how to use the left hand.
That's awesome.
Kind of right with it. Like do anything else with it. It's just,
So
just you learn that coordination. It's not like you were. Some people were born with it. I guess I wasn't. I had to develop it.
yeah. It's funny because like for me, my right hand is always my strongest. When I was doing like remixes and stuff, like my right hand I could on the keyboard and everything. My left hand was always kind of just like stiff for whatever reason, and I had to like literally train myself to
You
to
work
get
it.
it to decent usage. But when this first happened, I mean, Did you come across the feeling of dread and saying, that's it, I'm done, I'm over? Or, how did you come about just breaking through and moving forward?
Everybody's thought process is different, and it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier with some of these tech guys talking about, these lighting videos and DMX videos where they just ramble on about things you don't care about and whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and you get frustrated with that, but that's how they learn. That's their brain, and
Right.
it's the same thing with my problem, and it is a problem. I mean, it's a thing I have to deal with. I think initially, and I'm so happy that this is how I reacted to it at the time. I told everybody that it was a mild stroke and that it was cool. That was a lie. This was a massive stroke.
Mm.
Um, I came a millimeter away from complete instant cardiac arrest.
Wow.
So I shouldn't have lived through this.
Wow.
I mean, I would have just died on the spot, or I should have died in that ICU.
Wow.
There's no reason I should be alive. There's no reason I should have realized the recovery I realized. But what I didn't do was is listen to the doctors. I did not listen to the doctors because that's another video. But I just kind of dismissed everything they said because they were doom and gloom. I was blind when it happened. I couldn't. I was legally blind.
Hmm.
But I mean, really, coming out of that, coming back to what your question was, I was just happy to be alive. I mean,
Hmm.
that was a bonus to me. Dead would be bad. Alive is better. I'm alive. Good. Even if I can't see, I can still hear. I can still have a conversation with my kid as she's
Right.
growing up, even if I'm laying in a bed in a convalescent center somewhere. I'm alive. This is better than dead. But then stuff started coming back. And then when I got home, nobody wanted me to do anything. Blanca, my family, it's like, no, you can't drive, you can't lift, you can't bathe yourself. So I'd sneak away and do these things when they weren't looking. Just try it. If I had to do it, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, you have to drive, how would you do it? So I'd sit in the car in the driveway and figure it out.
All right.
And
Right.
it was just like DJing. I said, man, guys, I've got a strong left. I got a really strong left. I can walk. How can I lighten my stuff up and gig by myself? And I mean, unanimously, everybody in the community said, you can't do this anymore, B. You have to get an assistant. There's just swallow your pride and get an assistant. Well, it wasn't about that because I did get assistants. The problem was they weren't showing up on time, or they were getting drunk the night before and
Yeah.
getting thrown in jail, or they just didn't care about this like I did.
Right.
And they were putting stress on me.
Yeah.
Here I'm saying, you know what, if we leave at 2 o'clock, if we're loaded and leave at 2, we got a little padding, everything will be fine. And here I am at 2:15 biting my nails. I haven't heard from this guy since Friday. And it's
Wow.
Saturday, and I got to go work. All right. If this guy never ever shows up, is there a system that I could possibly build that I could carry myself, even if it's not the biggest system in the world? So you start researching it because nobody else has given me any ideas.
All right.
So I'm going to shows in like Music Messe and Pro Light and Sound in Germany, and I'm looking at every speaker. And I'm not just looking at the weight, I'm looking at where the handle is. And I'm trying to pick it up. And I'm thinking about the whole process. How would I plug it in? How would I put it on a pole? How would I do all of this stuff? And I came up with that first micro system. And
Nice.
at the time, everybody was running, 15s and,
Yep.
18-inch subwoofers, and that was the thing. And here I show up with 8-inch tops, 12-inch subs, and I'm blowing them out of the water because I just got good stuff.
All right.
I found these cool formulas by accident. And the industry started going smaller after that. And I thought
Thank
that was
God.
pretty cool. Everybody wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not just for me, it's for you who's got a back
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
Why hurt yourself?
Exactly.
Go lighter. It's okay.
Yeah.
You just really kind of, think about what do I need? What don't I need? What's important? What's not really that important? What looks good? How can I make this look presentable? How can I do it myself? And it's not just having the ability to put it in your truck, drive it to an event, unload it, set it up. You got to set it up and break it down in a reasonable amount of time because they're not going to sit around while your crippled ass fucks around with us for 2 hours. You got to get it done,
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, those are all factors that had to be figured in, and it worked.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I saw the one video that you were demonstrating a speaker and putting it on a tripod, and I remember you even saying the comment about if your wife saw you, she'd kick your ass because you're doing it, you're hauling it and putting it up there. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I said, I am never fucking complaining about my knee or back again, man. I mean, that's it, man. This guy is got it going on. You know, I mean, it's like there's people that inspire you. You know, I think we just come across these people, and to me, watching what you do, how you inspire people to do better with their DJing, with their business, and just, you know, everything, man. You're just an all around great guy, man. And
Thank you.
I believe in God, and I believe that He kept you here for this reason, man, to inspire
We're all
others,
here
man.
for something, you know,
Exactly.
and it's to help others. It's
Yeah.
just to serve others. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to take from you. I'm here to help you.
Awesome.
It's
Well, you've
it's what I
definitely helped me many a time. So, COVID-19 hits, and do you feel that you've that it sparked your creativity a little more now that we're freaking locked up and not able to go anywhere?
When this first happened, I made a post on Facebook. Actually, I made a video on Facebook. I didn't put it on YouTube. I probably should have. I don't think I put it on YouTube, but I did a live stream video, and I said, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my God, I can't earn. It's almost like block of trade. What am I going to do? How am I going to get the money to pay the bills? How am I going to get the money to eat and feed my family? You know, just this feeling of desperation and, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Who's going to help me?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, well, you know what? Disabled people have been doing this shit for a long time. This is Tuesday. And it is. I'm stuck in the house. I can't go anywhere. Yep. I remember those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had practice.
There
So,
you go.
yeah, I mean, what are you going to do, man? The hard part about the COVID thing and the videos right now is just coming up with stuff that anybody cares about. So you can only talk about a light so many times.
Mm.
And quite frankly, the gear videos are boring to me. I prefer doing the theory stuff. I prefer doing the music stuff. I think that's more interesting. Those videos aren't as popular, but those are the ones I really do enjoy doing. And I've been doing them lately. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. All right, if we can't gig right now, what can we do? We can get better when we do go back and gig.
Right.
Well, what's an area we can improve on? How about music knowledge? I mean, maybe that's something we should be thinking about instead of the, 4 pieces of gear that came out in the last, several months. I mean, there's no NAMM, there's no
I mean, nothing.
LDI, there's no DJ conferences. Asia's in trouble. There's tariff problems. The industry's a mess, dude. There are
Yeah.
companies that have disappeared, like LD Systems, the Maui 5 Go that I use and I love. That was Adam Hall America. There is no longer Adam Hall America.
My gosh.
There's a warehouse here.
Wow.
There's Adam Hall Group in Germany, but I don't know those people. But yeah, it's completely gone. They're dropping like flies.
Yeah. PSSL out here in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and gone, man.
That was huge.
Yeah.
That company was so big that, like, big companies like ADJ and Pioneer would take out ads in their catalog.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And gone.
Yep.
Gone.
Yep. Guitar
But-
Center now filing Chapter 11.
Oh, they've been in trouble for a long time.
Yeah.
That's yeah, and it's like all the malls are dead. Yeah, the malls were dead before this happened. It just gave me a little shove off the cliff. They were already standing right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those times where it's like, if you can hang in there right now, if you have to go stock groceries somewhere, go do that. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
And if you have to go deliver packages, go do that. If you have to Uber, go do that. Whatever you got to do, go do it. There's no shame in that. But if you plan on being a DJ when this is over, why not take some of this downtime to learn something and to be better when you go back out there?
Exactly.
And
I think that because I'm seeing like a lot of DJs and stuff, and like I belong to a DJ roundtable out here, and I have my own buddies that are DJs, and we all chat and stuff, and I'm realizing that like everybody's now looking to up their game to whereas where before we were just kind of complacent. Okay, I got a cool sound system. I got my uplights, cool little light show, my funny facade, and I'm good to go. Now I see everybody saying like, you know what? When I go back, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it seems to have sparked our creativity. Like with when people started, streaming their mixes and stuff. When I first started, I started with my phone, just messing around. I figured, okay,
Yeah.
I can entertain some people and push my company and
Sure.
say, hey, when we're out of this, give me a call. And then next thing you know it, I'm learning about OBS. I'm learning about video editing. I'm learning, more Photoshop and doing all this other stuff, multi-cameras and getting crazy and stuff that I would have never come across had this not happened.
Right. Right. I've never jumped on that live stream thing as far as, mixing. I haven't done it yet. I'll let
You
everybody else do
should.
it.
You should.
No. I tell you, this is, I mean, truth, man. I have zero interest in DJing for other DJs. Like none. How many DJs does it take to screw in a light bulb? How many? It
300.
takes a DJ to screw in a light bulb. One DJ to climb up the ladder with a light bulb, take the old one out, put the new one in, come down the ladder, put the ladder, collapse it, put it away. And every other DJ in the world can stand around that ladder looking up there going, yeah, I could do that. So what am I gonna do? Either I'm gonna suck and they're gonna say, he ain't shit.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna be different in a way where I'm gonna intimidate somebody and I'm not competitive with this.
Right.
With
Right.
with my peers. I have no reason to be competitive with my peers. Let's all go out and entertain people. Can I bring it? Do a pretty good job. That's why they keep calling me back. But I have no interest in DJing in front of other DJs. It just, I would love to do, and the flagging is crazy on this. What I would love to do is more of a radio style show where I'm not mixing, where I'm talking about music and introducing tracks and things like that. That would turn me on.
That
But
was going to be my next question because you are, like I said, seriously knowledgeable on your music. Now, other than collecting the music, I mean, obviously you look it up, you look up information about the groups and everything because there's a lot of stuff that you pop up. I do this a little 80s show on Fridays on a little website called radiomusicvault.com. And a lot of times some of the stuff that I talk about is actually stuff that I got from you.
yeah,
When it comes,
right
especially
on.
with the 80s artists because it is an 80s flashback stuff. And so
Sure.
you got you I mean, where you just study this stuff? What do you do about it? How do you come about
Everybody's
it?
got their thing. I mean, that was always my thing. I mean, I just loved it. I really, really, genuinely, truly loved it. And I mean, God, if I look back, I was hanging out with the Latino kids, and I was hanging out with the black kids, and I was hanging out with the Valley, what we called the Valley kids. They were the ones who were, kind of, I don't know. The white guys in the IROC Z28s with the
Yep.
mullets and mustaches. You
That's
know
the
the
way it
guys.
was over here in LA too.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I was hanging out with everybody, and everybody had their own music. I was hanging out with college kids. I was hanging out with everybody, and I just soaked it all in. There was something I liked from all of it, because some people will say, "Well, I'm a house head," or "I'm a hip hop guy." Man, I liked it all. I still do. There's good music everywhere.
Yeah.
There are some genres I don't like as much, but there's probably a song from every genre I like. You know. So I mean, freestyle. I mean, it's goddamn. I get accused of being this like freestyle guru all the time from people, white guys, by the way. And I'm like, no, I like 30 freestyle songs a lot. That's it. It's not like it's a huge genre.
It is.
Uh, and there's a lot to learn, but there's like 30 to 50 tracks that I really do enjoy, but there are 30, 50 metal tracks I enjoy and 30 or 50 country songs I enjoy. So I just like it all. I like good music, That's the kind of music I like. Good music.
That's me. I mean, I love everything. It's funny because like I'll never forget the day that I really realized that the passion that I have for music, and this was a long time ago. It was for my birthday, probably like my early 20s. And I was dating this
Okay.
girl. My buddy, my best friend at the time, Phil, calls me up and he says, "Bro, for your birthday," he goes, "we're going up to the R Ranch over here, and we're gonna go quadding." So I got the quads ready to go, and this and that. So I'm all excited. I'm like, hell yeah! I'm gonna be in the mountains, doing the dirt bike thing, and I'm like, I'm all jazzed up. My girlfriend says, "You can't go. I got a surprise for you." I'm like, and I'm all like pissed off, and I'm like, no, but, and she's no. All right. She ends up taking me out to dinner, and she took me to see the Phantom of the Opera. Okay, so at first, when I get there, I'm just like playing it off. I'm like, but inside, I'm like, fuck, I can be up
Why
there
am I doing
quantum.
that?
I'm in freaking an opera. What the hell am I doing here? By the time we got to the middle of it, I was like, oh my God. I mean, literally like goosebumps and the music and everything. And I was just like, and I literally told her, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for convincing me to stay and coming to this. This was freaking awesome. And she's all like, yeah, whatever, jerk and this and that. But I did. I loved it. I loved it because the way the music, it just like, man, I always liked music, but I just never realized how much I loved it, and until that day. It was just
Have you been
trip.
watching the reaction videos from young kids on YouTube?
I've seen a few of them, yeah.
Oh my God. I look at them every day. And it's not just the kids. It's just people who don't know. There's a couple from India I watch. There's a girl from a woman, I guess. Uh-huh. She's probably in her mid-30s, from Nigeria, who just recently moved to Canada, and she's discovering Western music for the first time.
Oh.
And I watch her all. She's adorable. She's so cute. It's like last week, she like in one day she discovered Expose. And she lost her mind. And she couldn't believe what she was hearing, and she was so excited. You could tell sometimes when they're watching this stuff, they're like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to make faces and things.
Right.
Now, this was genuine. Oh my gosh, what is this?
That's funny.
It's so much fun.
There's a couple of kids that I guess I don't know if you've seen them. Their father wanted them to start listening to music that he grew up with in the 80s and stuff. And so they took it upon themselves to start listening to it and recording themselves and getting the reaction. And the one that I remember is Gary Newman Cars. And they're listening to it, man. And they're just like, at first they're like, what the heck? And then the little guy starts like kind of groove into it, like, I like it and stuff. And it's just like, it's a trip, to see how they start listening to it and saying, this is not bad,
This is exercise for DJs. It's just, I mean, I know that they're in the mood to hear this stuff when they hear it. And you can tell who's full of it and who isn't.
Right.
I think you can deduct it after watching it for a while. There's a guy who lives somewhere out by you named Jamal, and he is discovering all kinds of stuff. He's about 40 years old. Mm-hmm. And last week, he heard Joni Mitchell Help Me for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool to watch. I mean, the genuine amazement. Because I don't know if you know that track, but oh my God, that's a track that I use when I'm testing speakers. And really? The reason I use it is because every time I mean, the song came out in like 73. Mm-hmm. I was like 2 years old. But every time I hear that song, I hear something different. Like there's an instrument buried in there somewhere. I think Alan Parsons produced that. And yeah, it's a trip. He's watching this and he's hearing a harp. And I never heard a harp. So I went back, okay, yeah, there is a harp in there. I never heard that before. There's so much cool stuff out there. And if you're open to it and you take the time and pay attention and just don't let it be background for you, there's so much cool stuff out there to soak in and enjoy. It's not everybody's thing. I understand that, but yeah.
I love your passion for music. So here's a question for you. Do you remember what was the first group or artist that you heard as a child and said, oh, I like this. This sounds cool.
There's a bunch of them, actually. And I was so young, I don't remember which was first. I remember hearing Wings, Band on the Run. I remember hearing Stylistics, God Bless You. I remember hearing Hughes Corporation, Rock the Boat. Who Loves You, Frankie Valli.
Wow.
Those were early ones that just grabbed me, and really like when I'd hear them, because Mom would have the radio on all day.
Right.
And, when she was vacuuming or cooking or whatever, and I'm talking 2, 3, 4 years old, and I would just hear this music and I would look forward to hearing these songs come on. Yeah, those I remember really, really liking. And I remember some of the songs, I think it's funny now. I don't think anybody gets this vibe anymore. But some of the songs that I was hearing just felt so adult to me. Like was not for me. This is for an adult because this is like more complicated and complex. It's not simple. There's something in here that I'm just not old enough to understand. And
Right.
sometimes that was true. But music now, what, Cardi B? Come on, get out of here. It's, you know, that's not for some learned, scholar. That's just
Right.
stuff. And that's what you get now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I remember really liking. And
Yeah.
I'll say this just about, kind of coming into music. I'm from a family of four kids. I'm the youngest of four by a long way. And everyone in my family is very, very different. To this day, we're different. So to break it down, my dad has a tin ear, is what I call it. He just has, he can't hear stuff like a lot of people can hear. He couldn't hear stuff. He was into old style country from the 40s. My mother, R&B, disco, top 40, mainstream fun stuff, but she was really into disco and dance stuff, and she still likes, like, her favorite band right now is Maroon 5, I think. I mean, she really likes them. She's like almost 80 years old. My big sister, pop standards, Barry Manilow, Barbra Streisand, Neil Diamond, that, my brother, heavy metal, Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Boston, anything rock,
That's cool.
thing. My youngest sister, not my younger sister, my youngest sister, she was into kind of more edgy stuff for a minute. So it was more like the Police and the Cars and, that kind of stuff as I'm growing up. So I remember being a little kid in the car, the station wagon, because that's how we rolled back then.
Yep.
In
We
the
had one
very
also.
back in the cargo area, because I was the smallest, going down the road, radio, switching the stations, and it's like, what artist could come on that could please everybody in the car? What would that be? What would kind of hit country, kind of hit pop, rock, standard pop standard stuff, and maybe a little edgy? It was always like Eagles. We could do Eagles, and everybody in the car would be okay with that.
With that, yeah.
Even though their tastes were so different. And I think that's kind of why I started doing what I do,
It's awesome.
It was trying to figure out those puzzles and what would work, what could they deal with? This very diverse group, what would they be okay with? And yeah. I mean, thinking about stuff in that way at a really young age, I think really kind of formed me, and maybe not for the better, but here we are. So.
Yeah, but when you think about it, I mean, that kind of defines as to what you're doing right now. I mean, because you're picking the music to entertain all the people that you're spinning for, at weddings and events and stuff.
My problem was I kind of thought everybody did. I'm like, well, everybody knows this. Turns out they don't.
Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine, when I was about 10 or 11, a friend of mine had an older brother, real cool guy, had a cool car, all the cool friends, go over there playing with my friend and say, hey, send Brian over here. I'd come over into this, his bedroom, you could smell the weed in there and the lava lamp and all that. He'd say, dude, watch this. He'd turn on the radio and say, what song is this? And I'd be able to, oh, it's Led Zeppelin. Isn't that amazing? Oh my God, the kid knew Led Zeppelin. Here, let's try it again. We'll turn the dial. What song is this? Blondie? They were amazed by this. I'm like, why are they treating this like a parlor trick? Everybody knows this. They talk about it on the radio all the time, but I guess no one else was paying attention.
Nobody was paying attention.
Yeah. It's all there.
Awesome. Right? That's awesome. Well, listen, brother, we are coming down to the end here, but what's up next for you? What obviously we're still in lockdown and stuff like that. Any plans to more videos and what you got going on?
That's not going to stop. Just going to ride this out, man. And I think it looks like the way they're talking, we might be okay in springtime,
I'm hoping.
And that's perfect for me. Well, I used to live by you, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you lived in San Dimas.
Ah, yeah, it's very close to where I'm at.
Yeah, I lived in St. Demas from 1976 to 1980.
Ah,
So Cali's kind of home for me. But where I live now, which is Wisconsin, it is all bets are off until springtime right now. It's
yeah,
getting cold. I can't perform outside, which is
yeah,
what they're encouraging people to do. We could do it all summer, but now we can't because it's going to get like icy cold here and snowy
yeah.
until spring. But I think by spring, we're going to be okay. We can go back out and work again. So in the meantime, just going to hunker down and stay warm and I guess pay attention. See what people are looking for, see what size crowds we're
Yeah.
going to be working with.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be smaller for a while, not only because of money, but because of the situation. So
Yeah.
smaller rigs are good. I'm set there. Yeah. I don't know. I guess my plans haven't really changed. I'm just kind of waiting it out.
That's it. It's all we can do, man.
In the meantime,
Well,
I'm here, and doing what I can.
well, the good thing is that you're going to keep dishing out videos for us, man, and educating us a little more. That's
And
awesome.
I try. Just put up stuff I'm interested in. Sometimes they're car videos, sometimes they're DJ related videos. But
How is the
yeah.
Mustang coming along, by the way?
Oh, that car is pretty impressive. I didn't mean to build a high rod like that, but I did. It's kind of
Dude,
accident.
dude, you're living my dream, man. I've always wanted to get a little hot rod somewhere. 'Cause my dad handed me down a Chevy Nova back
Oh
in the
yeah.
day. Yeah. So I've always wanted to get another one and fix it all up and stuff, man. So
You
eventually
know the
one day.
story on that car?
Say again?
You know the story on that car?
He just got it. What happened is my father always worked in radio, and at one point something happened, station closed down, and so he was out of a gig for a while, and he ended up working with a good friend of his who owned a junkyard, and they came
Oh,
across this
okay.
Chevy Nova. And it was running, it needed some work and stuff like that. And
Sure.
so he brought it home, and we tinkered with it. I helped him. He ended up getting it painted and fixed up. And then once he started working again, he said, "Well, since you helped me," he goes, "you can have it." And I was like,
That's cool.
"Sweet, man." So, and I had just learned how to drive. I was still in high school. So here I am in my nice little Chevy Nova, and I'm freaking putting in my sound system in there, bumping my tapes and stuff. So it was a fun little ride, man, until it was time to go. But I always regret getting rid of it, and I always say, man, eventually one day I'll get another one and fix it up and make it the
That's
way I
cool. Your
really
dad was
want
in
to have
radio
it.
too. That's neat. I didn't have that connection with my father. We were tight, but yeah, we didn't have any kind of musical connection or even vocational connection.
Well,
But that car,
my dad
that that
wasn't a DJ on radio for music. He was a journalist. He did news.
oh wow,
Yeah,
well that's even cooler, man.
yeah.
I'd love
So
to do that.
yeah, so he won 11 Golden Mike Awards here in Los Angeles.
Nice.
Yeah, so he was a force to be reckoned here in the
Wow.
Hispanic
That's
community. So,
cool.
yeah,
That's very cool. Real quick, I know you're almost out of time, but I think you might be interested in this. That car's my dad bought it in Pomona when we lived out there in
really.
1977. Yeah. It's from Theodore Robbins Ford in Costa Mesa. That's where it was
Yeah,
originally
yeah,
sold.
yeah, yeah.
And I got California black plates on it. So he bought the car because he was going to rebuild it. It wasn't a classic back then. He just wanted a 289 Mustang.
Right.
Long story short, the day we moved to Wisconsin, he parked it in the garage. It was like in July, and there it sat until after he passed away. So
Oh
it's a
man.
California fresh car,
Wow.
and it's from there. So it's a little piece of Cali that my dad hung on to for all these years.
That's cool. That's cool.
So it's all there. It's just as clean or cleaner than anything you guys are seeing out there because it sat for so long in that garage.
Yeah. Oh well, I can't wait to see it all done up, man. I keep watching your pictures and stuff and seeing it going up, and I'm saying, all right, man, it's
It's
coming
a
along.
driver now. I mean,
Yeah.
now I'm just tinkering with it. It's kind of done for now. I'll always work on it.
That's
But
awesome.
right now, it's a driver and I can enjoy it. It's sound, and it's yeah. It'll get up and snort. It's a cool little car.
Yeah. Well,
But it looks
congratulations,
stock.
man.
Thank you.
All right,
Nice
brother. Well,
nice COVID distraction, by the way.
there you go.
Go out to the
Exactly.
shop and work on that. Change gears once in a while.
Well, listen, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you
Thank you.
sitting and chatting with me.
Sure.
Of course, everybody that's watching right now, Brian's links will be down in the description. And of course, if you like it, click the like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you get notified when I have another great talent. Brian, brother, stay safe. God bless. Thank you very much.